The FBI surveilling XXX stag films, 4,800 pages. And that one, that's not being reported in America. I wonder why. That's in The Guardian, folks. Go check it out. This story, gotta cover it. Don't know exactly what it means, but it's worth covering. Sanford missing since Thursday, reportedly located, but they're not announcing it. So I guess that the governor of South Carolina, Mark Sanford, was gone for nearly 4 days. They said they had no idea where he was. But Sanford's office told the lieutenant governor's office Monday that Sanford had been reached and is fine, said Frank Adams, head of the lieutenant governor Andre Bauer's office on the event. Neither the governor's office nor the state law enforcement division, which provides security for governors, has been able to reach Sanford after he left his mansion Thursday in a back SLED suburban SUV, said Senator Jake Knotts, and 3 other familiar with the situation, but declined to be identified. Sanford's last known whereabouts had been near Atlanta because of a mobile telephone tower picking up a signal from his phone, authorities said, so they were tracking him. His office now knows where he is, apparently. The governor's state and personal phones had been turned off, and he had not responded to a phone or a text message since at least the weekend, a source familiar with the situation said. So he disappeared somewhere, and it's not being said where, but they say they've located him. Wonder where that develops into, but I thought I would report on it. All right, let's go back to calls 866-582-9933 if you want to hit it up in the final segments. Let's go to Scotty in California. Scotty, you're online.
Hey, Jason, thanks for taking my call. I talked to you before about that Project Needle and my webcam, but I got some news for you about that jackblack12.info. I discovered when you had mentioned, I think it was Friday, that the site had a picture. It was like looking down the street and you can see some kind of like overpass or underpass. Mm-hmm. The image name was in binary. It turns out that the name was Anthony. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then on the page in black, because the background was black, there was a whole string of text, and it turns out that text was in base 64, and it said, "My desolation does begin to make a better life." And I thought, weird and strange. Mm-hmm. Then I checked it out Saturday, and there was a different picture. Mm-hmm. And then on that page as well, the image was in binary. Its name was Othello, when translated out of binary. And in, again, a base 64 line that was hidden in the background of the page, it says, "The tyrant custom, most grave senators, hath made the flint and steel couch of war my thrice-driven bed of down." I have no clue what all that means, but I thought it was something really strange for, even though I think you pointed out Friday that they might have been a shill. Well,
I actually covered it in the beginning of the show. Do you want to know what the end game of that was? All right, let me break it down. A guy named Justin Williams, who had looked on the military website, picked out that drill to encode it. He was probably the one that originally broke the hexadecimal codes on all these forums. I'm not sure about that part about it, but if you saw after he put all the counters up and he put up those pictures, people didn't buy into the hoax. They started realizing that he was using characters and themes directly from Jericho, right? So at the end, because the site's down now, or just says jackblack12.info, but at the end, after he took off the 2 counters and he took off the picture with the binary, because if you looked where he saved that picture, it actually had the name that was in binary in a subfolder. So in other words, that first picture was jackblack12.info/Anthony/ the binary code, whatever the file name was, the extension.
Yeah, even the index page was named Anthony HTML and Othello HTML. Yeah.
Exactly. So he knew what he was doing. And at the end, because people didn't bite on it, because people like Alex Jones and myself didn't say, "Oh my God, this false flag attack's happening Monday. Everybody get ready for it. We need to warn everybody." Because we didn't jump on that, I believe that this is why he put this message on there. On Saturday evening, I think it was, most of the site was taken down. It just said "Game Over" at the top, and then it said "Truth Seekers 2." And then it said -0, and next to the 0 were his initials, JW. So the guy behind BlackJack probably just looked into some of the quote-unquote conspiracy theories. He was probably well aware of what happened on 7/7 or what was said about 9/11.
Sure.
He knew that, these drills are often used in false flag attacks and wanted to see if he could get the quote-unquote conspiracy nuts to bite that they were getting ready for another false flag attack because of this comic strip and that. Because I really think he started sweating it that nobody was getting the hexadecimal code, and that's why we saw this progression literally the week of Ardent Century. And notice that Ardent Century came out second. So he probably only had to drop on the forums, like the popular forums, that first hexadecimal code that said that this is not simply entertainment. And then everybody went wild and rescanned everything. And then it kind of organically took off from there. And then you'll notice as it organically took off from there when people discovered the site, jackblack12.info, that's when he started adding things to the site. Because at first it was just one counter. And then it went from one counter to two counters. Then it went from two counters to a picture. Then it went from two counters to a picture to a different file directory. And there was even some things in there where if you inverted certain images, you would see a barcode or, BlackJack is a go, all these little hints. But he would tongue-in-cheek try to, warn people that it was a goof by saying that one of the generals was the head of Homeland Security in the series Jericho that actually was behind these false flag attacks. And he would talk about the vans with the sun logo on them, and that, again, is another part from Jericho. There's actually some good YouTube video wrap-ups on it. Go check them out. We're going to try to go to John, Ben, and Mark on the other side, the final segment of the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas, back after this. Folks, I want to remind everybody out there, and we're going to go to John, Ben, Mark, and Brian in this small little 5-minute segment. I'm going to give everybody about 30 seconds to make their point and then move on. But I want to remind everybody, you support the program by getting one of these great titles: Endgame, Fabled Enemies, Obama Deception, the DVD Arsenal, some of the ones that we've got laid out. And right now, you can get Aaron Russo's Reflections and Warnings, the one on the top left or top right, depending on where you're sitting or how you're living it. It's in the top left, right? What am I saying? Over at prisonplanet.tv for free with the purchase of Endgame and other great titles at Infowars.com. All right, John in Texas, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason, it's great to talk to you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to briefly touch on Stephen Colbert that you're talking about.
Yes.
Now, while I think that he is, definitely awake, I think what he does on television is just hardcore programming, because you get everyone laughing about all these issues, and that automatically disqualifies them from ever actually asserting a true critical stance on the issues. So
yeah, but dude, at the same time, it's a comedy show. I don't disagree that there's predictive programming, especially in comedy shows. But, when you're doing a parody of the news and you're really just an offshoot of The Daily Show in the first place, I'm not so sure that there's a ton of malicious intent there. And like I said, when you got him off the cup, have you ever seen that Press Club dinner uncensored?
Yeah, I have seen it, yeah.
And you got to say, the laughs that are there, they're not Hollywood, ha-ha, this is programming laughs. Those are laughs, very uncomfortable, oh my God, I can't believe he said that in front of the president, his administration, and his minions in the press corps. That press corps dinner is hardcore, and it lets me have the benefit of the doubt for Stephen Colbert, because, even when he was doing that pig flu interview with that little CFR witch, he was tough on her too, and he's been good sometimes. So you may be right. I got to jump, man. I got to get to the next caller. I thank you for the point. Maybe we can go in depth later in the week. Ben in Virginia. Ben, you're on the line.
Hi, Jason. I just wanted to say that I love the show. I love what you're doing. We Are Changed Virginia is going to be out next week at the Federal Reserve on Saturday, and we're going to be doing a big protest out there. I just have one comment about Iran. I wanted to say that the Iranian people are Persian, and their government with the mullahs and everything, it's not even Persian, that's Arabic. And what's going on now is tension from a lot of years of oppression, and I know that the CIA is involved, but what's going on now is going to keep going on even if World War III doesn't start because of this.
All right, I thank you for the call and the opinion, sir. Mark in Maryland. Mark, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Jason, I'm an avid listener. I never miss a show of yours or Alex, and I just want to add my little 2 cents, if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
Man, I'm tell you what, the best shows you guys do is when you and Alex get together. It's like that dynamic duel against the evildoers. I'm telling you guys compliment each other so good. He's a little bit blustery, but he knows the facts. I mean, he's got instant recall that defies imagination. But then you get in there and you compliment him. The two of you need to do more shows together because you guys rock.
Well, thank you, man, and I'll let him know that. Maybe we'll put that on the YouTube. Final caller of the evening, Brian in North Carolina. Come on, buddy. We got less than 60 seconds. Hit it.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a PrisonPlanet.tv member, and I just wanted to mention that story about the governor of Sanford.
Yes.
Supposedly he was hiking on the Appalachian Trail for 4 days, which seems kind of strange to me.
Seems kind of unbelievable that the governor of South Carolina would be on an Appalachian trail hike with no communication to the outside world, seeing, you know, he's kind of responsible for what goes on in South Carolina. Doesn't seem like a good cover story. We covered that story because I think it's going to flesh out within the next week. I thank you for the call, Brian. We covered so much. I mean, we covered Tears of a Clown, Glenn Beck here, and his phony apparatus. We covered Hero Obama. We covered mandatory vaccinations yet again. If you missed us, go check out the podcast over at theinfowarrior.com or prisonplanet.tv.